Hey, Sherman Ragland, Real Investor. I'm here, of course, with Bruto, the Wonder Dog. Bruni, we're here. So we're here at the Real Investors Academy, and I'm not going to give you a tour because we're actually under construction right now. We're remodeling, doing a couple of changes, but as soon as the remodeling's over, I'll go ahead and give you the $25 tour instead of the nickel tour. There's nothing in the world as powerful as sitting in the car or sitting on a bus or meeting somebody at a property right in your very own backyard to learn this real estate investing business. And that's the power of real estate investor clubs, real estate investor associations, real estate investor meetups, is getting to connect with the people who are right in your own backyard. And while there's great things that can happen on websites like, Connected Investors and Bigger Pockets, those are nationwide websites that very often never have the chance to meet with somebody right in your own backyard. Now, here's a little secret a lot of people don't know. The Real Investors Academy started off as a real estate investor club. See, about 20 years ago, maybe 22 years ago now, I started a real estate investor association, which quite frankly would have been called a meetup, except meetup didn't exist at the time, where a group of us would just meet up at a hotel, and we outgrew the hotel, and then we started meeting at the library, then we outgrew the library, and then about 2005, after we've been doing this for about 4 or 5 years, I had a chance to buy this building. And this is what's called a flex building. So it's office space on the front. So I bought the office to run my rehabbing business and my wholesaling business. Yep, Sherman Ragland, the real investor, bought his own building back in 2005. You hear all these new cats on the YouTube, and you think, oh, gee, the first person to ever buy a building was somebody bought a building in 2010, 2020. No, I bought my first building to run my real estate business, but we had too much space. This is what's called a flex building. So the front of the building is sort of your traditional office space. And again, I'll give you a tour. I'll give you a tour, but we're in the middle of remodeling, and I don't want to I'm going to do a separate video just on the remodeling that we're going to be doing. But we bought this building back in 2005, and the backside of the building had warehouse. There's literally on the backside of this building, there's it's 20 feet lower, so you can have trucks pull up, and it's got a loading dock. And we didn't need all of that warehouse space. I needed some of it to store some of my rehabbing materials, but I didn't need all of it. So we literally draped a curtain so that you couldn't see all of the lumber and all the stored supplies in the back. And we started teaching classes, letting people look over our shoulder and showing them how we were doing what we were doing. And that was, like I said, we first started off as a real estate meetup. This is back 2002, 2003, 2004. We bought the building in 2005. And then about 2004, 2005, just before we bought the building, we officially formed something called the Greater Washington, D.C. Real Estate Investors Association, DC REIA. And so we were the first and are now the largest real estate investor association in the entire Washington, D.C. area. We've got over, I think last count, we've got over 1,500 members. And still have over 1,500 members, despite a lot of groups getting smaller during the pandemic and some even going away. So let's talk real quick about how do you find a real estate investor club. Now, we're certainly not the only ones in Washington, D.C. We're by far the largest, by a factor of 5, I think, but we're not the only ones. And even if you're not in D.C., if you're in Dallas, Atlanta, my buddies Phil and Chino Grove run a real estate outfit down in Texas where they're in like 5 or 6 cities. I lost count. And then, of course, my cousin Ebony's down in Atlanta, and Atlanta's got a huge number of real estate groups, real estate followers, and of course my buddy Lou Brown's also down there on the north side of Atlanta. But the bottom line is, right in your own backyard, right where you live right now, there are real estate investor clubs or real estate investor associations, and there are people who are willing to let you look over their shoulder and show you how to get into this business. So let's talk real quick about how you make that happen. Number one, and this is what I call the good. There's lots of real estate investor clubs, real estate investor associations, or REIAs, real estate investor association, REIA, but not all of them call themselves the same thing. So the first thing is understanding that you're going to have to seek them out, right? You're going to have to seek them out before they seek you out, right? So it's easy though. The easiest way to find a local real estate investor association is to Google real estate investor associations near me, REIAs, REIA, which is the acronym for Real Estate Investor Associations, are REIAs near me, real estate clubs near me, real estate meetups. There's lots of real estate meetups. But the first thing and the first step and the good is the chances are there's probably 12 to 24 real estate investor groups right in your own backyard. You just have to seek them out, Google them, find them, but they're there. Number two, what I call the bad. There's lots of real estate investor associations out there. And some of them, because people start them as sort of a labor of love and then they lose interest. There's meetup groups out there that say they have 400 people or 20 people, but they haven't had a meeting in years. So make sure that as you're doing your search, you actually look and find those who are still active. And that's really, really important to find active groups. So, and quite frankly, the only way to do that is to search for the groups, real estate investor associations, real estate investor clubs, real estate investor meetups. And then once you find them, look to see their calendar and see what their activity looks like. We do live meetings, live trainings almost every week, mainly because, again, we've got our own building. Not everybody has their own building. Some meet in hotels. But as I said before, I'm an active investor. I've been an active investor since 2001. I am the real investor. And so I believe that instead of making the guy rich who owns the hotel, now I'll change my tune when we finish our hotel, but rather than making the guy rich who owns the hotel, why not buy your own building and host your meetings in your own building? So that's kind of what we do. We also meet on site at properties. There are other groups out there that don't own their own building. They meet on site at properties. And of course, there's nothing like, property tours either on a bus or car caravan. I know some people are still a little squeamish about sitting on a bus with, 45 people you don't know. We do bus tours, but we don't pack them in like sardines. If we do a bus tour, we're going to hire an executive coach with great air filtration, and we're not going to put more than about 20, 30 people on the bus. So there's plenty of room to spread out. But we also give everybody a map and a schedule of our property tours. So if you don't want to get on the bus, but you want to drive yourself and just meet us there, we also make that as an option. So again, the good is there's lots of groups. The bad is there's lots of groups. You're going to have to filter through them. You're just going to have to look at their website, see what the schedule looks like. And the ugly. Something happened, I guess, about a year or two ago where a lot of quote unquote out of town gurus have been buying up meetup groups and buying up real estate investor clubs, and they're doing virtual meetings. And so you Google real estate investor club near me, you find a real estate investor club or real estate investor meetup, only to find out that all of their meetings are being done online and virtual. And good thing to do is click and see where the group is based, and then click and see where the admin team. And I've seen this, I'm almost like popping up like mushrooms. I've seen 10, 15 meetup groups that are in the DC area, but all of them are being run out of town, and all of their meetings are online. Now, that's not to say that you can't learn anything from an out of town meetup, but the bottom line is this, that's what Bigger Pockets is for. That's what Connected Investors is for. That's what those online websites, CRE, that's what those websites are for. If you really want to learn the business and you want to learn it fast, the best way is to connect with somebody right in your own backyard. And the best way to do that is to join a real estate investor club that truly is local. They may have their own website, like we have our own website, dcrea.com. Some do, some don't. Some only, their only way to find out about them is through Meetup. So you're going to want to make sure that you check out Meetup. But the most important thing is don't fall into the trap of seeking out a local group only to find out it's some national person who somehow, aggregated 1,000 meetups, but everything is done via, online webinar, and there's never a chance to connect live and in person with other people, because that's where the real magic happens. Getting out, seeing properties, getting out, connecting with other investors, getting out and being a part of something. So I hope this was helpful. Went a little bit longer than I thought it was going to go, but this is an important topic, and I think it can be really important to your success. And so again, if you're in the DC area, check us out, dcrea.com. And if you're outside the DC, and again, don't just check us out. There's lots of great real estate investor groups. They're not as good as us, but there's lots of good real estate investor groups in and around the greater Washington, DC area. Check out clubs in your backyard. And most importantly, don't get locked into thinking, oh, I have to go to this one site, and this one site's going to tell me where the real estate investor clubs are. That's generally not the case. Just go ahead and Google real estate investor clubs, real estate investor meetups, real estate investor groups, real estate investor RIAs, associations near me, in my backyard, but probably near me. And you're going to find there's probably a dozen or more. And then just start going through the list and seeing, okay, who actually is speaking to what I need as an investor, who actually is live and does live local meetings, and who actually does have an opportunity to connect with other local investors. Sherman Ragland, the Real Investor. I hope this was helpful. Talk to you soon. Bye.